What's up, my ham harassers? How you doing today? It's Chris, and we're talking about the elite harassers. Basically, they are another barracks unit. They pop out and they shoot people. If you look, though, it's kind of interesting. They've got an extreme attack, 100% all the way up. Health really high, actually, 95%. But they've got no armor. Does that matter? A little bit. I mean, they're pretty easy to kill overall, but I don't find them to be as squishy as you might think. They still have a decent amount of health, and because they kill things so quickly, they often just can run away and just do something else and shoot from a distance or something like that. But usually what you want to do is you want to combine these guys with some other unit that can block stuff. These guys should not be your blocker units, which I guess the main issue with that is having two barracks units out of your 5 towers can be a little bit difficult to do. So if you do combine the harassers, you might want to try it out with maybe a mausoleum and some gargoyles, or even possibly the bone flingers with bonum or something like that. I think going with the orc warriors den and the elite harassers might be a little tricky to do. So, just definitely keep that in mind while you're playing. Ooh, you know what? Let's talk about the 3 abilities really quick. We got 3 abilities here. We got Backstab. Harassers now counter the next attack when dodging an enemy's melee hit. Wonderful. It actually works out pretty well. Does a decent amount of damage. Arrow Storm swiftly shoots several arrows at their enemies. You can upgrade this up, I believe, 3 levels, and it ends up being pretty strong, actually. I can't be too accurate with it, but basically they're already doing tons and tons of damage. So being able to do like these extra bonus damages ends up being pretty nice. Last but not least, the Fury of the Twilight. When harassers die, they have a chance of going berserk. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know too much about that. I can't really say that it's all that good or bad. It's just sort of there, and it's just a part of the game, and it's okay. It ends up making them have that little extra bonus damage if they end up dying. But usually, I try and keep my guys from dying in the first place. So it's like, do you want to buy that? Do you want your guys to purposefully die to help yourself out? No, I don't know. It's gonna be rough. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to build the Elite Harassers over here. Just looking at their base health, 91 health, 5 to 7 attack. Looks pretty bad, actually. Moving up a little bit, we got 169 health, 10 to 13 attack. Attack's still a little bit on the low side for Harassers, or at least what we'd expect out of a Harasser. 208 health. We move up to the 4th tier here. Kind of weird that it went from like a sort of standard purpley building to this big red like castle looking thing, you know? I thought that it was just like a huge change. But it doesn't really matter that much. One thing we're noticing is we were able to get to this 4th tier with a pretty low price tag. We didn't have to spend that much money to get this guy going. Fairly low price to get this guy, so makes it pretty efficient. So let's actually get this going already. We're going to get the backstab right here. Harassers now counter the next attack and deal 25 to 35 damage for the 1st tier, and then they do 40 to 60 damage for the 2nd tier. So not too shabby. Basically, once guys get up in your grill, man, you're going to be able to do some extra damage with that backstab right there. But while they're doing archer damage, they're not going to do that. So let's see if we can see it. See it in action here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it right away. But here is the Arrow Storm. The Arrow Storm, as expected, guys. Freaking Arrow Storm. Going to fly a big chunk of arrows against the units over here. You're going to see it. They're going to be like purpley arrows that just spray them up a little bit. Here we go, doing some hand attack, stuff like that, and we do a good amount of damage to these guys. We're still taking them down. That's the interesting thing. There we go, big purple juicy arrows right there. Take them down with that spray, and both of them do it as well, not just one of them. Now, when you use these guys, like I said, you probably don't want to be doing hand attacks all the time. You probably want to put some reinforcements in the way, let these guys stand behind a little bit, and just shoot the arrows, because the arrows are going to do way more damage than the melee attacks are. I shouldn't even say way more damage. They're going to do more damage than the melee attacks. Because they're sort of like an in-between kind of unit, whether they're a ranged attacker or a melee attacker. They're kind of good at both, but I'd prefer them to just sit from a distance and shoot because obviously they're not that tanky. They have 0 armor, and their health is okay. Yeah, pretty solid. And then for the last upgrade, I don't even know if I can kill these guys. So, especially at these early levels right here, I don't know if I can kill them. Like I said, it's not that they can't die. It's just when I'm fighting these lower tier guys, and when I don't have the waves consistently coming out, it's unlikely for them to end up dying over here. But it's a pretty decent thing to have happen, you know? It's okay. It's alright. The way you want to think about these guys, though, is definitely the damage doers. They're really not meant to be stallers. They do the damage. So if you want a good damage-doing tower over here, especially, you can tell against these dogs over here, man. Heck to the yeah. Because they do physical damage, so all of these footmen are actually tanking some of it. They have armor. They're tanking a lot of the damage from these harassers over here. But I would actually say that, believe it or not, harassers probably do more damage than most regular towers do. The Shadow Archers, even like sometimes the Infernal Mages and stuff like that, these guys can do more damage than them by themselves. It's really interesting to think about that some sort of barracks unit is going to do more damage than them, you know? And the nice thing is you can move these guys around, you know? Move them around, you can even put them off to the side or something like that if you want to. Like if you have some sort of, you know, blocker guys over here or something like that, you can just put these guys off to the side and just let them shoot their arrows, let them go to town. If I had to give these guys a rating out of 10, I've given every single one of these towers a rating out of 10. You can take it with a grain of salt if you want to, because I'm just freaking making up a number here based on, you know, what I honestly think about these guys. But I'm going to give them a 7.5 out of 10. They don't really have the ability to stall all that well, but the damage makes up for it for sure. They do a lot of damage. The abilities are they're okay. I mean, I like the big purple arrow blast over there. The backstab ends up being okay. And then the berserk, I don't end up using almost at all because these guys rarely ever die in most situations. You know, most of the time I'm going to have them behind somebody, and the enemy units are not going to get past my first wave to get all the way to these guys and still be able to hurt them enough to still kill them on top of that. But you get a good amount of damage for the price that you're spending on them, and that's why they're getting such a pretty good rating up in there. That's not a 75%, you know, where it's a C rating or anything like that. It's a 7.5 where 5 is average and 1 is terrible and 10 is like amazing. If you guys enjoyed my video, though, make sure you press the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't, guys. I really appreciate it if you guys want to do that for me. And, of course, have a super-duper delicious day.